and welcome to this week's episode of Not D&D, brought to you by EN World Live. As always, I'm your host, Jessica, and this week we have some returning guests. We have the publishers behind Two Little Mice. Thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you for having us.
So I'm very excited to talk to you and have you back because you have a really exciting project on to talk about. So we have Memento Mori, which is an RPG of dreams and corruptions that we'll be talking about, which is currently live on BackerKit. And also, I believe you have a quick starter guide as well. So if while we're talking, you're interested in having a look, the link for the BackerKit is in the show notes, and also the quick start guide as well. So if you want to have a read through and find out more while we're talking, please feel free to do that. But yeah, so Rico, Simone, you've been on the show before, so I won't ask you about your background and history with role-playing games. If people are curious, they can listen to the episode on Household, this lovely RPG here. So if they're interested in that. But because you've been on the show before last year, I wanted to ask you about what you've been up to since your last visit, any games you've particularly enjoyed playing, or things you've been working on. So yeah, who would like to start?
Well, I personally, of course, I have played a lot of Outgunned, which is our main game.
We were very busy, writing and completing Outgunned in the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but mostly because the campaign for Outgunned went so well, and we unlocked really tons of stuff. So basically, last year we had even Memento Mori was announced for 2023. But we couldn't manage because we were swarmed by all the stuff that we had to do for Outgunned. So I played a lot of that, and of course I played a lot of Memento Mori. Worked at the new edition with the original authors, because we are not the original authors of Memento Mori. And I am still trying to play Dragonbane. That was from Free League back at January here. I'm trying, but I've read through. Amazing game. It looks like, at least, but very promising, and can't wait to play it. But I can say I already played.
Yeah, I also have Dragonbane and have not played it as well, so it's also sat on that shelf there, not being played. But Simona, how about you?
I am more or less in the same position as Rico, maybe a little bit worse, because I also have a little son. He's 2 years old, so when I'm not playing Outgunned or Memento Mori for work, I have 2 littles per time, unfortunately. I'm building up several titles. I would really, really, really like to play, but not very much time in the last 6 months since we spoke last time, maybe 7, I don't remember.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, yeah. Keeping a child alive is hard work, so I understand. Sorry.
No, we also grabbed with Simone Flabbergast at the last.
Oh, yes.
But still
in Lucca, we grabbed it physically in Lucca.
Yeah, in Lucca, the Italian version.
Lucca Comics is the biggest Italian convention for RPG comics and the likes. So we were there, of course, in November. And also I grabbed a ton of titles. I have the Last Werewolf. My wife is very keen on World of Darkness and Werewolf in particular. I read it, but it's very hard to find the time to play something.
Of course.
The more we do this as a job, a main job, that's what we do for a living, making RPGs. But the more we make them, the less we get to play. Kind of the only
when you have some spare time, you think, okay, maybe a little play test, call some friend, let's try this new mechanics or this new module, etc. So we are here, but like so many players, we keep stacking books after books that we would really love to play.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's very, very common to have that case. Interesting you mentioned Flabbergasted as well. We had them on the show for Not D&D, so if anyone's interested in learning about that, there is a previous episode about Flabbergasted as well. But let's talk about what we are here to talk about. So Memento Mori, could you give us an overview of what this game is? We've heard dreams, corruption. So what is this game?
So Memento Mori is an original Italian game written and designed by Marco Bucci and Andrea Felicioni. This is the Italian edition, and this actually came up in 2018, around the time that the first edition of Household was launched in Italy. And we actually shared our first booth at Lucca Comics and Games with the authors of Mori. So it's kind of we grew up
very close, very friend. Before the pandemic, we used to share a booth in each and every convention in 2008, 18, and 19. So we knew them pretty well back then.
So we decided to try and make an international edition of Memento Mori, and also bringing new stuff, because they only made like 3 books in Italy, and then they stopped. It was their their main job, but now we want to continue the line with them. So basically, Memento Mori is an historical folk horror RPG where you are playing in Europe in the 1343, 47. I don't remember the year, but basically during the Black Death. So what's happening around you? Historical, medieval, dark Europe. Well, 2/3 of the population are dying, because of the plague, and you are what we call a drifter. And the drifter is basically someone who is infected with the plague, and so they are slowly dying. But as they die, they develop the ability to see behind the veil. So they get to know supernatural creature from the European folklore. They start to see stuff. They start to gain some dark powers, and the more they use those powers, the more they get corrupted. Basically, you are a dying man or woman trying to fulfill your dying last wish. So your dream is basically your last wish before leaving the earth. And as you die in this game, as you lose, as you fail, as you become more infected, as you use your power, you become stronger. So it's basically the whole game. It's a death spiral where you are becoming stronger and stronger and stronger and more, supernatural and more inhuman, until you die. And hopefully you will have to, fulfill your dream just before dying.
Yes. So yeah, not a happy ending game then, but maybe bittersweet with
in a way. Yes, the mechanic of the dream is a very bittersweet, or is open for a bittersweet ending. So you have this grand dream that could be really anything from you want to save your town maybe is surrounded by dangers or supernatural creatures or bandits, or vexed by an evil lord, and you are just a common folk. You will use all your powers, but at least you know that your sacrifice is not in vain. So it's a very intense and very interesting concept for a game, for sure.
Yes, definitely. So what is the system like? So how will we be playing it? I believe we use a lot of D6 dices in the game, yeah?
Yeah, the game is the first game that we did without our signature system, so we are still using D6. And the aim of the game is to have a 5 or a 6. Those are considered successes in most cases. Sometimes even the 4 can be successes, sometimes only the 6, but 3, 5, and 6. The cool thing about the system is everything in the drifter sheet is connected to some slots. And these slots will give you a die, a white die. So basically, everything you have, your organs, which are your attributes, and your blood, which is your health, your life, and your name and your bonds with other people, and your memories, your equipment, but also, everything there is on the character sheet can be used to give you 1 additional die to your roll. And that's the basic of the game. But as you fail, as you die, as you get corrupted, you get to change some of these die with black dice. And the black dice will give you what we call the corrupted slot. So you have to, fill in one slot so it becomes black. And when you are using that slot, you will use black dice, and black dice will have more powerful successes, but also they get, if you get a 1 with a black dice, you get corrupted more. Okay. And so the more you use them, the more you are keen, to corruption. But the main idea, which I find brilliant, is that everything on the character sheet can be corrupted, can be exchanged. Even your memories, even your name, you can corrupt them. So, for example, just something that happens to me during one of the last game, I was playing an ex-soldier, kind of like, a berserk kind of feel, like you are
mercenary in this war-ravaged land, etc.
Yeah.
So I had a memory that was the last time I saw my comrades, basically. So the smile was called, we use phrases, the smiles of my comrades. So basically these memories that I could, use, for example, when I needed some courage, I had to answer courage. I could use this die from this memory of the last smile of my comrades. And then once I corrupted that memory, I turned it into a supernatural power. So that memory was the souls of my comrades. And that was something that I could use to actually turn it into a spell, to basically summon. During a very tense scene, I summoned these, rotten corpses of my ex-friends and comrades came out of the ground and started, killing stuff around. And that's kind of how the game works. And I think it's really brilliant, the idea that everything can be corrupted, even your name. And one of the powerful
corruption of the name is the stuff that I find cooler for me, because when you can corrupt your name two times to become more powerful, and you have basically your name and a surname. It's a way that the others call you, like you are stronger because you are very strong. It's something about you. And when you corrupt your name, you lose first your surname, but not just the mechanics in the scheme, also your identity. You lose. You are no longer known for that. And when you corrupt entirely your name, you will forget your name. Just your other drifter friends, the other players at the table will remember you. But you will gain incredible amount of power, of course, because now you have a dark name, which is you can transform it in a very powerful spell. But you will forever forget what you were as a human.
Yeah, gosh,
it's very, very fascinating for me. It's a very unique twist on this, grimdark medieval theme to play with your character as something to sacrifice piece by piece in order to achieve his dreams. It's very, very. It grants the ability to show and tell and live very unique kind of story, or maybe redemption or salvation, etc. It's very interesting. We went, of course, with those games before we decided, as you can probably imagine, before we decided to bring it to the international audience.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think it's great that the corruption is a mechanic, obviously setting, but also it has a narrative in the story. So because that's very interesting, because I imagine that's where a lot of the horror comes from in this game, because you'll play this character over the course of the game, and then you maybe look back and see all that you've lost and things like that. And maybe, I guess, if you forget your name and your purpose, maybe you even forget the purpose of what your dream is. Because maybe if your dream was to save your town, but you have had so much corruption like you had with your old comrades and friends and you've lost your name, is that dream still important? I think that's very, very interesting.
It's very interesting.
Of course,
it was friends are for in this case. It was other players are for, and what the pact between the different players is for. But yes, that's the kind of dilemmas that the game is on. You can have the power to defeat your enemy and fulfill your dream, but at what cost? If you lose yourself, maybe you will lose the mean. Why are you doing this? For who are you doing this? Or maybe you will lost the memories of the people you are trying to save, and what will remain of you. It's very, very, very interesting.
Sometimes you don't actually die in the end, because we always say that you have to die, but there are ways, and you can cheat that possibly with the help of some supernatural creature that might help you. But sometimes you lose so much about yourself that it's still a bittersweet ending with the game, because you are, for example, the dream of my ex-soldier character to see his beloved soon-to-be wife, one last time. So I went all the way from the war to see this beautiful girl one last time, but I managed to save myself. And when I arrived, the narrator, which was kind of a bad person, made me see this wonderful girl.
Was one of the other, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was one of the others, and so I saw what was going to be my wife with a child, a beautiful child that was possibly my child. I didn't know, but they were happy, living their life. And I was so scared, physically and mentally destroyed, that I simply the finale for that character was simply to see them, smile at them, and then turn around and go back to the war, basically, because he no longer felt like worthy of this kind of life or something. So it's really and that's the cool thing about the game. It's a very narrative game. Of course, it might look like an OSR or something when you first see the thematics, but it's actually a very narrative, very dramatic game. And at first, you are eager to corrupt yourself. There is a lot of space in the character sheet, and say, maybe I can corrupt that and gain this power, and then I will do this and that. And then after a couple, of corrupted slot, you are like, okay, I'm.
What am I, Mika? Who I am?
Yeah, you are more conservative about yourself because you are losing your character. So I think it's very, very funny.
Yes, definitely. So with so we talked a lot about you're gaining corruption, and that's because you want power to overcome, the obstacles or the entities, the monstrous things you're dealing with. Could you talk a little bit about those? What sort of obstacles and things will we be fighting in the game?
I'll leave this to Simone. I wanted to show you this before, since I have a copy here. This is the Codex Gigas, which is the kind of the bestiary of this game. And the author, Marco Bucci, one of the authors, is kind of an expert and very passionate about all kind of pagan stuff and European folklore. So this is basically the creature that you will find, a lot kind of creature from the European folklore, treated in a very realistic and a very there's a lot of study behind those creatures.
Yes,
and
basically the idea behind. Sorry, I don't know if you have the idea behind the veil, which is the name of this other dimension, is that the stuff of legends, of myths in the folklore exists in this mirror dimension called Beyond the Veil, and only the drifter, the character, they are called drifter because they can go back and forth. They can physically enter this other dimension and re-enter our world. That grants them all the powers that they have. But of course, for this same reason, a lot of creatures are very eager to prey on them, because maybe they want to come this way, maybe they want them as ally, because beyond the veil it's not a very happy place, as you can a lot of monsters, a lot of intrigues, a lot of things happening. And the cool thing that it's not an entirely, sort of demonic dimension where you just have to fight. No, we will have the chance to meet a lot of different kind of creatures. Some, most of them malign, but some of them benign, and some of them just with their own agenda that can come as an ally to you or not. It depends. And it's very, very, the lore of this creature in the Codex Gigas, it's very deep, and it's full of way on how to incorporate these different creatures inside your session. The fun things about the books, it's one of the first time in history the books went out of sale in Italy before the core book of the game, because it's written with a very, very deep known of the European folklore, and it's a beautiful book with beautiful illustration, but it's very beautiful to read because it's full of ideas, and basically each of these creatures can easily be the main focus on an entire campaign, because they are deep, they have their motives, what are they doing, why, how you can interact with them, what happens if they help you, and if you help them, maybe they unlock some object that you need for a ritual, for some I don't know, some powerful man. Maybe you want to bring back someone you love from the dead. It's possible, knowing the right creature and doing what it needs to be done. Is it worth the cost? I don't know, probably not, the folklore says, but it's been done in several legends, in several fairy tales, so maybe you can try. It's very, very interesting. It's a mix of what everybody knows about folklore, the creatures. All the creatures will thought of are there, the incubus, the little folk of the Celtic folklore, just to remain the House of Team, and many, but with a unique point of view, a unique twist that is this beyond the veil, this double dimension idea that it's very tangible. And the other cool stuff, it's when you are a drifter and you are in the material world, you are the only one who can see the other creature that lives in our world. For the others, they are just like common people, but you see them as they really are. They are creatures from beyond the veil that disguise them as animals or as creatures. And that's very, very, another very cool idea. So you are fighting some giant, incomprehensible monster, but for the other folk in the town, you are just fighting against the guards of the local lords, because they just saw it as a normal thing. So it opened a very a great kind of way to interact with these creatures.
Also, because the game is not very focused on fighting this creature. It's more about what kind of danger they can represent for the community. One example is the good old lady that is taking care of all the orphans. When you become a drifter, you may know that she's actually a Krunt who's going to eat these children.
Oh, right. Okay.
And you can see her as the monstrous creature and you will have to possibly defeat them or trick her or whatever, but it's very open. One thing that the authors were saying during an Italian live stream is that it's basically like The Witcher, but you are not a Witcher and there are no Witcher.
No Witcher and no mage.
Okay, right.
And you.
I think that was a cool, explanation of everything. Like there are these huge dark creature, but you are, basically you are yourself, and you are
just a guy,
just some guy doing his best in this terrifying world.
Another things that I find really fascinating is that you actually don't know what is happening to you. It's just
really?
You just discovered you were infected with a plague that is basically means death in that period. Very, very few percentage of the population can survive this. And then you start seeing things you only believe there are fairy tales, or legends, and then you begin to develop those dark powers. And it's also for the characters it's like they are improvising a lot. They are trying to understand how this creature, what they want, and how they can use or collaborate with this creature to achieve their dream. It's why dreams fall, because your character has a very, very strong goal, direction that is their dream.
Yeah. And is this the thing that unifies the characters in the game? They come together because they've all started seeing these strange things. So that's the reason why they work together. Yeah. Amazing. So talking about, we talked about there's obviously the rules, there's, different adventures and monsters, but I understand there's like 4 different books you get in the BackerKit?
Almost, because actually one of the 4 books, the blue one that you can see in the box, it's not a book, but it's a book itself. A box.
Oh, okay.
So yes, so basically there are 3 books plus a fake book that will have tarot cards, major arcana, a set of dice, black and white, and some stuff that we are unlocking during the campaign. Okay. One is the what we call the Blade of Ruins, and the Blades of Ruins are basically kind of magical artifact shaped as swords or daggers, and each will come in something like this. These were this was something that one of the authors did for a convention in Italy. Was basically paint this kind of stuff, or usually artifact or plants, with the little lore of the object, and they was kind of hand out for people during convention. And he did something with this a number of blades. So he hand drawn these blades and gave them a lore, and are going to be part of the box. And also we're doing something very special for the campaign, which is my favorite part of the stretch goals, which are called the Binding Pact, which are some group shit that are kind of how you have for a PBTA, where you have your character sheet, with all the stuff that you can fill in, for different adventures in different thematics. For example, there is one that's called the Coven, when there are all the additional rules and all the questions to play Memento Mori as a coven of witches, a so-called witches who actually gains powers thanks to the plague. So the main story is that you were women in the medieval times, and at a certain point your village gets the plague, and you gets the plague, and you unlock some supernatural powers, and now you are kind of the scapegoat. People are looking at you, maybe it's your fault, and you have to use power to help them, or to destroy them, or to get vengeance or justice. Or there's another Binding Pact which is made to allow players to play after a shipwreck.
Okay.
Like you are on a boat, possibly you are traveling to find a cure or something, or you get infected during the travel, and then your ship got
storm hits, and your ship goes
cast away, so you are basically island setting.
Amazing. So
yeah.
Fab. So that's all, as I mentioned, like available on BackerKit with a full list and all the details. And it's, I would like to talk about the art and the style you've gone for this, because like all of your products, they're very, very pretty books. So what was the inspiration for the art and the way that the books kind of look and feel?
Well, we have 2 different directions for this book, because one was, of course, the original direction from the Italian author. So their idea was to have kind of very natural book that felt like a Bible.
Uncoded paper,
yeah, uncoded paper, warm black and white. It's not really, an electric black and white, because the paper is almost a little bit yellow. It's all, it's all illustrated in black and white, mainly by Francesco Biagini. And Francesco is a very good artist. This is an Hydra. And he likes, this, there is kind of an OSR feeling, I think, to this art, but it's really, they are extremely pretty, and everything is hand drawn, every, detail of this book. There's a lot of, artistry in this. On the other hand, we like, we like boxes, we like, we like colorful arts. So we came up with this incredible artwork by Daniela Giubellini, who is the artist for Outgunned and Household. This kind of red cover with the death and the knife, and it didn't fit in the books, of course. So that's why we came up with this idea of making a cover for the box, so you can showcase your books with a black and white and gold box, or you can put on this magnetic cover. And then, to give a little bit more meaning, to this magnetic cover, we turned it into a narrator screen. So basically, there are rules inside, so you can use it. So basically, there's kind of two products in one. And then we wanted to do a little bit more for the international edition, so we came up with the tarot idea, which are going to be black and white and golden foil, always made by Francesco Biagini. And one of the authors, of the original authors, Marco, has this dream. That was his dream, to having this, box like a book. And it's something that is really hard to do on the Italian market, where you have like 1,000, 2,000 people tops buying the course. It would be totally out of budget, but since we are doing this on, a crowdfunding platform on BackerKit, we can do this kind of crazy stuff. That's why I love crowdfunding so much.
It is great. And so if that was his dream, what corruption did he take to make this a reality then? So
we don't have enough time.
Okay. For later, another episode. We'll invite them on to talk about.
You don't know the authors, but basically what's funny is that the one who did all the rules, the game design, which is Andrea, they are brothers. They have two different surnames, but they are brothers, same mother, same father. And Andrea is the most average, guy. Andrea is black hair, always, dressed tidy, has a good job. And Marco, who done the lore for this game, Marco is an LGBTQ icon. He works as a comic book writer, very successful in Italy. White hair, full of tattoos of different pagan stuff and something. So he is clearly the corrupted and dreamful and side of the family. I think it's when you look at them, you are clearly he's the most. He has the most power in the family. That's pretty obvious.
Okay, so he's taken the corruption to make these dreams come true for the family. Excellent. Love to hear
that. You'll have to see them. I think they're quite funny as a couple, as brothers, and they both has different amazing careers and idea, and it was really lovely to work with them.
Fantastic. So as we mentioned before, the BackerKit campaign is now live, and so it's going on for a few more weeks now, I believe. When does the campaign end?
February 8th is the last day of the campaign, so next week.
Okay.
Next Thursday.
Okay, so a week left, so people get involved. So one thing I did notice is previously your campaigns have been on Kickstarter, like with Household, and this one is on BackerKit. So I was just wondering, what the reasons were for the change in that, if that's okay, because I know there's a lot of creators that use crowdfunding and are thinking about using different platforms.
So basically, we wanted to try BackerKit from we work with BackerKit in our other crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter as advertisement and pledge manager. So we already know them. They opened their own crowdfunding platform 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, a few years.
Something like that. And they asked us to join them with a project, and to see how it goes. So in the end, we thought Memento Mori could be a good chance to try it out, to test it out, this new campaign. And for now, we are very happy with how the campaign's going. Let's chat again at the end. Let's see. Yeah. Not just the result, but also the tools you have. We really like them. So we are, for now, we are happy with our choice, and we will, of course, make our own thinking after the campaign ends and see what to do in the future. But it's worth trying. There are plenty of good people that are working hard in both advertising and helping you having your campaign out, and we are enjoying working with them.
Amazing. Well, great to hear. Well, I think we are coming up to the end of our time on the show. So thank you both so much for coming back. Again, you keep making great games, so I keep inviting you back to talk about them. Do you have any kind of closing words or information you'd like to share about Memento Mori?
Well, we talked a lot about the game.
I think that, as always, thank you for having us here and for having this, this show and this moment for, products that are not D&D and that struggle a little bit more, to get known. To tie with the, BackerKit discourse, I would encourage everyone who's listening to us who wants to do something, on crowdfunding to, try on different platforms, try on different methods, not just to follow what have been done, because this is an ever-changing field, and we still don't know where we are going, all of us, and this this hobby, how it's going to evolve. So I think it's worth to explore different realities, partnership, and whatsoever. And I think we've talked more than enough. You have to excuse us. We are very wordy. It's also we Italian talks a lot, and it's even harder to express in English. So
of course, yeah,
we tend to talk over a little bit, but yeah.
No, that's perfect for a podcast guest. I want you to talk a lot, so it's ideal. Thank you so much. But yes, okay, so I'll wrap the show up there. Thank you so much for coming back on to talk about your game, and I hope it does well on BackerKit. I'll certainly be picking up a copy myself. And if you're listening and you're interested, the links are in the show notes, where you can find links to everything and a link to the quick start guide. But yes, thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week with more games that are not D&D for you to check out. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.